Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics, the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym. This is the only show in the metro area that focuses on growth and development, real estate construction, economic development, really anything related to Omaha becoming bigger, more vibrant, more prosperous. Without any further ado, it's time to bring on my co-host, a man who is a legendary real estate deal maker and all-around great guy, Trenton Magid.
You are kind, Jeff. Happy 5th of July, everyone.
Happy 6th of July, I think it is today, actually.
Oh, absolutely.
You may have you got your numbers mixed up there.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Well, I do hope everyone's having a great Independence Day weekend. The nice thing about having the 4th of July on a Thursday is that you get a 4-day weekend, or at least a lot of people do.
Yeah, I think that there's not a lot of people that worked on Friday.
So on, Wednesday, I was downtown and I heard this music, this beautiful music. It turns out that the symphony was having a rehearsal preparing for their 4th of July performance that was going on before the fireworks on Thursday night. So it was kind of cool. I didn't have a chance to get downtown to see that.
It looked like it was going to be awesome. I'm sure it was.
Big crowd and all that sort of thing.
Great weather.
Yeah, but at any rate, hope everyone has a great Independence Day weekend. Continue the fun, and let's all get to Monday with all of our fingers intact and unburned. So let's talk about food. We have another Grow Omaha Eats restaurant review written by Chris Corey. This week, Chris reviewed Clio in the Old Market. Clio is the new Mediterranean restaurant that is in the former Wheatfield space, northwest corner of 12th and Howard. Have you tried it yet, Trenton?
I have not, and we've been talking about going, and with Chris's review, I'm sure it's harder to get into, but they take reservations, and it's a great location. It's definitely a step up from what was there before Wheatfields. And right across the street from Plank, another flagship restaurant group offering. But I was looking on their Facebook page, or actually their website, and there's like 20 Blues, which is one of their concepts, around the country, another 4 scheduled for this year. And so with that, Memoir, what's the other one they have down in the Mercantile?
Blue. And the Mercantile, they're going to have Ghost Donkey and Champagne. It's going to be a duck pin bowling. But as Trenton's indicating, this restaurant, Clio, is part of Omaha-based flagship restaurant group. And yeah, Trenton, a lot of those flagship restaurants are not in Omaha. They're in Arizona and other places now.
Yeah, absolutely. So they have a great following and a great reputation. So Nick Hogan and the group over there, big team of people, very impressive.
At any rate, if you want to learn about Clio, spelled CLIO, you can go to growomaha.com and click on reviews on the navigation bar, and then there's a drop down and you click on EATS Eats. You can see all of our reviews there, going back to when we started doing restaurant reviews a few years ago. But at any rate, Clio, Chris Corey, our reviewer, really liked it a great deal. Just kind of had nothing but positives to say about the place. So something that you may want to put on your list. I know I'm going to, just like Trenton, get down there and try it myself here at some point in time, 12th and Howard. By the way, we have a new sponsor for our Grow Omaha Eats restaurant reviews, and that is a name you know well, Allmakes. Allmakes, of course, is the business furniture and equipment store. Been in Omaha for multiple generations. And Allmakes had been sponsoring our George Morgan Wall Street Week article in our weekly newsletter, but they're now also sponsoring our restaurant reviews. And Trenton, you and I have known the Kavich family that runs Allmakes for a long, long time.
Yeah, Amy and Jeff and Larry, who's passed, and Laser, his father. Great family, grew up in the same neighborhood, the mean streets of West Omaha, and just a fabulous group of people. And so we're excited to have the partnership with Allmakes.
Allmakes on the west end of downtown along Farnham Street. And it is the place that you want to have in mind if you want to redo the office. And they have so many different options, whether you have the open office plan or you have a lot of private offices. Allmakes can take care of all of that. I know in my career and Trenton's career, I can't tell you how many times we've been to Allmakes and have picked out new furniture for a new office or replacement equipment, and they always do such a good job. So very happy to have Allmakes on board as the sponsor of your Grow Omaha Eats restaurant reviews written by Chris Corey. Well, Trenton, let's go into our news of the week because we have quite a few things to talk about. Our news is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com online. Their office, 114th and Davenport, just south of 114th and Dodge. Whether you call them, text them, stop in the office, or find them online, one thing is for sure and one thing is the same, and that is great customer service, helping you get the best possible loan for your situation, your circumstances. Eagle Mortgage, not a bank. They are a mortgage broker, so they can shop the market and match home buyers and borrowers with the best bank solution for them. Holly Schneidewin runs the place, has done a great job with it. They've been around for over 30 years, and we highly recommend eaglemortgagecompany.com. Well, Trenton, the big story to come out of this week is in Council Bluffs, and that is Google has decided to invest even more money into their Council Bluffs operations. An additional $1 billion coming to that data center campus. This is on the east side of Interstate 29, just north of what eventually turns into Highway 370 going into Bellevue. And Google has 1,000 acres there. And
only 1,000 acres? I thought they grew.
I believe it's 1,000 acres.
Well, 1,000 acres is a lot.
I could be off on that. Yeah, basically a mile and a half square, right?
Yep.
But they started, and this is Trenton. This is hard to believe that they've been around there for 15 years now.
Holy moly!
And in fact, I remember us talking about that when it was just getting started. And their initial investment was only $600 million. They've now.
I remember when $600 million was a lot of money, Jeff.
It actually counted for something. Now they've invested more than $5.5 billion, with another billion coming.
That's amazing. I remember when Google on Highway 275 there. In Council Bluffs, there's those two spec buildings that some group out of Kansas City or somewhere built some warehouses, 15, 20 years ago, and they just took those over like it was nothing.
Yeah, and they filled those up so fast, and that still is a Google data center campus there on Highway 275. Then they did the 1,000-acre one, and then they did one in Papillion, which is still not 100% complete. They're still working on it.
It's like a mile or something there. I think I know how we can figure out how much land they have in Council Bluffs.
How?
We'll Google it.
There you go. But I was also going to tell you that they have yet a fourth one in the metro area under development. They're 114th and State, kind of State and Blair High Road. And then they just started one in North Lincoln along Interstate 80.
That's a big one, too.
So anyway, this Google campus in Council Bluffs, according to Google itself, is going to be, if not the, definitely one of the single largest data center campuses on planet Earth.
Not only that, don't we believe that if you combined all the Google facilities in the metro Omaha area, it's the largest concentration of Google facilities, right?
Yeah, that is our understanding, that it is the largest concentration of Google facilities in the area. And so, Trenton, a couple other quick story bits, and then we'll move on after that. Got some development projects. Clarity Development Company plans to build a 5-story, 194-unit apartment building southeast of 27th and Leavenworth. And this was rezoning for it was approved by the planning board just this past week, or actually this week. And it's going to be a transit-oriented designation. A lot of these new developments in downtown, because of the streetcar and because of Orbit, are becoming transit-oriented, meaning you don't have to have as many parking stalls as you would traditionally have, because a certain percentage of the people will primarily, or maybe in some cases always, use mass transit. At any rate, going to be a nice project, big project right there on the corner of 27th and Leavenworth. And then just a little bit to the west, my friend, about 9 blocks to be exact, 36th and Leavenworth, plans call to take down a vacant Family Dollar store, and Parkway Development Company is going to build a 5-story, 86-unit apartment building there. It's actually on the northeast corner of 36th and Leavenworth, like I said. And that, too, will be a transit-oriented development. They're going to have 58 designated indoor parking garage stalls for that, really close to the Med Center there. I think the big story, though, is that the Leavenworth corridor, when you consider that several other apartment projects have been announced or are underway, is becoming a huge concentration of density.
And we've talked about this before, but this, ladies and gentlemen, is how the streetcar is getting financed. 25, is it 15 or 25% of the incremental taxes for these projects for a number of years will go towards the construction of the streetcar. And Leavenworth, it wasn't too long ago where you would probably lock your doors or roll up the windows and be concerned about going downtown via Leavenworth. Now it's a great address.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is your news of the week, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, EagleMortgageCompany.com. Going to take our first break of the morning, and when we come back, Trent and I are going to be talking about a few things. We're going to talk about the commercial real estate market and what's happening there, and a couple other news items as well. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, along with Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to Grow Omaha, the area's only show that focuses on the growth and development of your favorite city. I'm Jeff Beals, sitting next to Trenton Magid. We are brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, along with Cheer Athletics, and that is the nation's #1 all-star cheer gym. They've got locations in major cities across the United States, but the one we really care about is right here in Omaha, just southwest of Highways 50 and 370 in Papillion. And I tell you what, if you have an athlete at home, a kiddo, a grandkiddo, niece or a nephew, and you want them to get more athletic and get more confident and learn to compete and learn all sorts of life skills, you definitely want to check out Cheer Athletics. They have the best coaches in the region to help you develop your tumbling and performance skills. And All-Star Cheer is where it's at. It's a great form of competition and a lot of fun, and families really enjoy getting involved with it as well. Cheer Athletics offers novice, regional, and national co-ed teams that compete with the best teams in the country. Like we said, stop by, located just southwest of Highways 370 and 50. So, Trenton, we had a cool event that allowed us to extend our usage of Charles Schwab Field, according to Visit Omaha. Shortly after the NCAA Men's College World Series ended, we had the High School Baseball National Championship Series in downtown Omaha. We had teams from 12 states, from as far away as Hawaii, California, Florida, and Massachusetts. They arrived in Omaha on Wednesday, June 26th. They played through Sunday, June 30th, so just under a week ago. And the championship game took place at Charles Schwab Field, was broadcast nationally on ESPNU. Team California beat Oklahoma 10-0 if you're keeping track at home. The 4-day event was estimated to bring in over $1 million of visitor spending into the community. So another nice way to add on.
What a great thing for aspiring high school baseball players. I mean, just the feeling of playing in the big leagues and or I should say in college, but that's a great add-on because isn't Slump Busters a huge thing for younger kids too? That Council Bluffs and everywhere else, and that doesn't get hardly any play during the College World Series.
Yeah, and really, I mean, everyone talks about how you can't get a hotel room very easily during the College World Series. The biggest reason for it are all the youth sports teams that are in town for the Slump Busters. So Omaha, definitely a big baseball mecca. Last Saturday evening, my son and I were in Kansas City, and we were in a sports bar, and one of the things they had on the TV was the High School Baseball National Championship live from Charles Schwab Field in Omaha, Nebraska. Now, unfortunately, there's pretty much no one there. When you're used to seeing it on TV when it was the College World Series, there was hardly anyone there. But the stadium looked cool, and the kids looked like they were having a blast.
A lot less Jell-O shots at Rocco's.
Yeah, I think Team Oklahoma probably had like no Jell-O shots, and Team California had no Jell-O shots. Probably, who knows? Maybe they do. Maybe high school kids get into that. So let's talk a little bit about the real estate market. Once a quarter, NAINP Dodge, with which Trenton and I are happily affiliated, once a quarter, NAINP Dodge does a market report update, and they look at the office, retail, and industrial markets and kind of assess how is it doing. And our latest one is just coming out, and I'm going to share a few things, pieces of information with you. And then Trenton, as a legendary real estate deal maker, can tell us what all this means. Fair?
Yep.
Okay, so here we go. Office market. There are 49 million square feet of office space in the Omaha market. Vacancy is 7%. What do you think?
I think it's admirable. I don't think it's wonderful. Of all the three segments that we're going to talk about, industrial, office, and retail, office is the one we're most concerned about. And Omaha traditionally doesn't overbuild. However, as we've been talking about for the last 4 years on the show at the start of COVID, is what's going to happen to the office market. And with employees going home during COVID and all these alternative workspaces and flex time, there's a lot of concern, especially like larger companies that say I heard a story about one guy who manages a pretty sizable office, 50 to 75,000 square foot office, and he wants to bring the company culture back in where his employees aren't hang out at home. And it's not, it might be that they're not working as hard, but newer employees for the company culture. It's really a tough gig when your employee base is spread out. So he wants to bring everybody back into the office, and corporate nationally in these bigger markets and stuff in San Francisco and New York and Philadelphia, they're saying, no, they can stay home 2 or 3 days a week. And I think it's unfortunately it's coming to fruition. The things that we've talked about, Jeff, on this show is there's going to be, unfortunately, I think a lot of it is permanent, that people are going to demand to be able to work remotely. What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, a lot of the people love remote work, but we also know that in general, having the majority of your employees in a place where they can collaborate with one another tends to work a little bit better.
Zoom just doesn't do it.
It doesn't for me. I mean, I'm on there a lot, but I much rather have an in-person conversation. Interestingly, 1.3 million square feet of office space is currently under construction at this time. My guess is about 800,000 of it is one particular skyscraper downtown that we talk about quite a bit.
Yeah, most of that new stuff is spoken for. And then you've got some second and third generation. What's nice about having that vacancy, though, number one, we need it, not for the landlords that may not be getting rent, but when companies are growing in Omaha, that second and third generation space is more affordable. A lot of it has build out. So it helps everybody. We can't attract new growth in Omaha without having available space, because new space is probably about twice as much to build than existing.
Well, Omaha's 66 million square foot retail real estate market is doing pretty darn well. Trenton, vacancy for retail space in the second quarter of this year, 4.4%.
Yeah, and that's kind of a shining spot that people didn't think about. Retail, the smaller spaces are pretty much filled up. There are some new strip centers. How much new is coming on board?
Construction right now looks like we have 434,000 square feet under construction.
So that's pretty conservative. It means that developers aren't going crazy building a bunch of spec retail space, but you're also seeing vacant grocery stores and things like that being repurposed to sports-related things and amusement-related things. But retail overall is healthy. Prices are staying up there for the landlords, and we're good on retail.
And then there's industrial. The total industrial market in Omaha metro area adds up to 107 million square feet. An additional 4.5 million square feet of industrial space is currently under construction, so getting bigger and bigger. But this is the interesting thing that I have to share with you, Trenton Magid. Industrial vacancy is only 3% in the Omaha area, but that's actually higher than it's been last quarter, which was higher than it was the quarter before that.
I would say that it's negligible, and what you're probably looking at is we're getting more functional space. There's a lot of functional obsolescence is what they call it. Older buildings, they might have 14 to 16 foot ceilings where new companies that are warehousing and want to rack. A lot of buildings are being built at 26 to 32 feet high, and the column widths are wider. So the older warehouse is what that vacancy represents. And then there's some new stuff coming on board that may not have signed leases on it yet, but they will. I'm not worried about the industrial market.
Okay, this is interesting to me. Rental rates for industrial space, or at least the asking rates, are averaging $8.15 per square foot. I can remember when I first got in the commercial real estate industry, it was only a couple few bucks.
Yeah,
per square foot.
And I remember it at $4 a foot, but I've been in the business for 30 years, and we've seen increases over the last 3 years that have really shot up, and it's a number of factors. It's scarcity, it's the cost of building these, it's the cost of land and the proximity to the market. Sometimes you have to go out farther to build these things, and the taxes are higher. So the tenants are paying for it, and it's a healthy market. Our location geographically in the country helps us. There's some big users. There's a lot of third-party logistics. Tryhard Logistics, which John Meyer and I work with, a guy who's an amazing operator, Jim Kunkel. Tryhard Logistics keeps growing and growing and growing. We need to find him those spaces to fill up.
Hey, a couple, before we break for the news, a couple other quick news stories I want to work in here. First of all, the Gretna City Council this week voted again to delay setting a January 2025 date for a special election for funding the Good Life District. The council has until November 22nd to approve a resolution if they're going to hold a special election in Gretna in January. And so there's a lot of talk that they want to hold this thing in January. They don't really want to hold it in November because they don't want it to be overshadowed by the presidential election and everything else we're voting for in November, God help us. But the Good Life district is a 2,000-acre area located around and including Nebraska Crossing. It was created by an act of the legislature a little over a year ago with the intention of attracting tourist-oriented business. So basically, Trenton, we're at a point right now where we're like, okay, how's this all going to play out? It's one thing to announce a massive project. It's one thing to have the legislature approve some business incentives for it, but this is a big thing to pull off.
Absolutely. What's interesting about it, Jeff, is isn't it May 1 that the 2.75%, which is half of the state's portion of the tax, of the 5.5 tax that the state was getting, right now, if you go to the outlet mall, I believe that you're paying 2.75% less in taxes, and instead of coming back or sitting in a pot waiting for this vote to happen next year, it just vanishing in thin air. So the developers in this Good Life District, which has already been approved, they're not going to get that until this gets approved and they figure it out.
And really fast, Holy Name Housing Corporation is planning a nearly $4 million housing project in North Omaha. Plans call for 13 single-family houses south of Lake Street near John A. Creighton Boulevard. Each house will have 3 beds, 2 baths, be listed for $250,000. Construction should start this fall and be complete in May of 2025. Nice example of an infill development there. Time for our middle of the show break. When we come back, we're going to be sharing a variety of different items that we want you to consider on this Independence Day weekend. But in the meantime, you're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to Grow Omaha, the area's only show dedicated to the growth and development of your favorite city. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid here in the KFAB studio in beautiful downtown Dundee. We're brought to you by Cheer your athletics, along with Dingman's Collision Center. Dingman's has 4 metro area locations and is the constant, frequent, always best of Omaha winner when it comes to auto body and collision repair, because they are just so good. Not only is the workmanship superior, but they also have outstanding customer service. 4 metro area locations. Northwest Omaha, Southwest Omaha, Papillion, and Saddle Creek Road in Midtown. Dingman's Collision Center. Well, it's time for your Noddle Companies Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight, which is brought to you by Noddle Companies. Trenton, what do you know about Noddle Companies?
Noddle Company is the premier developer, not only in Nebraska and Iowa, but also they venture out to Colorado, many other states. They built a lot of Walgreens over the years. They are third generation now, and Exarban Village, the River's Edge, just a number of amazing projects that Noddle Companies has done, and now they're really venturing into multifamily, whether it's condos or apartments, and I think we're going to hear some major announcements for Noddle on the residential side at Exarban Village in the next few weeks.
Well, this Noddle Company's featured project is in the Builders District, which is that area of North Downtown, just west of Charles Schwab Field, including and surrounding the Kiewit World Headquarters. We have a fitness company called Fly Fitness, Fly as in F-L-Y, Fly Fitness, plans to open this fall inside the 4-story mass timber building at 1501 Mike Fahey Street. Right there in the Builders District, like I said. Fly Fitness is headquartered in Lincoln and has 2 locations in Lincoln, 2 in Fargo, North Dakota, 1 in Loveland, Colorado, part of northern Colorado area. And then this fall will be this one in downtown Omaha in the 1501 Mike Fahey Street. So that's a good sign. You know, downtown is really growing as a residential area, and now you're starting to get more fitness clubs and service businesses. It's exciting what it means for downtown.
Absolutely.
And with that, we have your Noddle Companies Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week. You can learn more about Noddle Companies by going to, appropriately enough, noddlecompanies.com. Well, Trenton, a couple other things we want to mention. Costco, the third Costco at 180th and West Maple Road, southeast corner, getting very, very close to opening.
July 17th, right?
I think last I heard was the 12th. July 12th.
It looks great.
Yeah, I went. We post projects on the Grow Omaha website, and so periodically, and I'm driving around, I'll shoot some pictures. And I took a photograph a few days ago of that Costco, and the employees were all in there getting things set up. Trucks were dropping off merchandise, so that's pretty cool. And of course, the best thing about that Costco is, God willing, it will decrease traffic on that horrific Dodge frontage road at around 123rd Street. At least we can hope. So I want to talk a little bit about transportation. It's very important to be able to move around and get around, and we're very proud to let you know, if you didn't know this already, that Grow Omaha has a new transportation reporter, a transportation writer, if you will. And his name is Eric Miller. Eric is a senior transit planner, works here in Omaha. And for many years, he was part of the RTD, Regional Transportation District in Denver. Denver's done a lot with mass transit, but Eric is an Omaha native and decided to move back to Omaha after 19 years of working on transit in Denver. So he's here in Omaha, and he's going to be writing periodic articles about transit for us here on Grow Omaha. And his first article, like I said, is available on our website. The headline is, "What is the right transit service to Epley?" And he chose to write this because there's been a lot of talk about, where do we go with the streetcar next? We know that the streetcar is going to connect that 10th and Capitol area down to the Harney-Farnham corridor, which we like to call the Farney corridor, and then out to close to the Med Center. We believe the first extension will be just a few more blocks west into the heart of the Med Center. There's talk about Council Bluffs. hooking onto the streetcar system. But there's been some talk about, should we go north? Should we go south? Should we go to the airport? And Eric in his article says, while the streetcars have awesome potential for moving people around in a dense urban area and awesome potential for real estate development, he says, be careful about making it go to Epley, because streetcars work when they're in a very densified area and make a lot of stops. And that's not necessarily what you would want if you're going to Epley. The cost to build 5 miles of track between downtown and Epley would be an awful lot when you consider there wouldn't be a lot of excuses to stop there and not a lot of places for collateral real estate development.
Yeah, absolutely. And having just got back from Switzerland and Milan, still not trying to brag about that trip, but I'll tell you what,
Braggart.
When the train stations from hotels, when you can fly into an airport, in this case Zurich, we were able to get on go to the train station that's attached to the airport, go down to the old city, and our hotel was a block from the train station. It makes it a lot easier.
Folks, I was gone last week. I was out of town. But if Trenton spent half of the show talking about his trip to Switzerland, I just want to sincerely apologize. But he's excited. He was excited to go. And he wanted y'all to know he was there.
And I don't travel very much, so it was a big...
Hardly at all.
Yeah.
Hardly at all.
But no, I think that it's a good point, because if you had an express streetcar to the airport from downtown, that kind of defeats the purpose of the collateral buildings, as you said, and activity. But it would be pretty slick.
Yeah, it would be pretty slick. But
maybe we just make a moving walkway.
Or a canal, wasn't it Lormont
Low,
between downtown and the airport? We could float our way to the airport. But in all honesty,
I think... Or skate in winter.
There's been a lot of talk about putting a spur into North Omaha, which might make sense someday. But I think the best place, at least on the Omaha side, for a route extension would be that 10th and 13th corridor, where there's enough density and all that sort of thing. But who knows? Time will tell.
Well, you know what's funny is when we talk about the streetcar, if we had rubber tire just to transport from the streetcar, you go to the streetcar with your bags, you get on a short bus, and you go right to the airport back and forth, that'd be sweet.
Trenton is interested in short buses. But let's make our final break of the hour. And when we come back, it'll be time for your Turner Construction Lightning Round. I'm looking at the list, and it's a pretty packed full one. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and Cheer Athletics on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the Grow Omaha Show. It is time for your Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round, in which we talk about a lot of things in a short period of time. Thank you to Perkins Kreitzer Construction for making this possible. And it's kind of interesting that we talk a lot about a lot of restaurant and retail during the Perkins Kreitzer Construction Lightning Round, because PC Construction does a lot of those projects. But guess what? They don't just do that. They can do office buildings. They can do industrial buildings. They can do institutional buildings, all sorts of things. Even healthcare projects, education projects, full service Class A general contractor based here in Omaha that serves not only the metro area, but as far out as Grand Island, Norfolk, North Platte, Kearney, Sioux City, really the region is the Perkins Kreitzer Construction territory, if you will. And Dave Kreitzer was on the show a couple of weeks ago. He's a good friend of ours, does a good job of leading the team. And Perkins Kreitzer Construction is famous for not only quality workmanship, but great customer service. You'll enjoy working with them, as countless other people have. So if you're thinking about building a building, if you're thinking about renovating, give Perkins Kreitzer Construction a call. You'll be happy that you did. All right, Trenton, our first story is a really cool restaurant is being planned. The Jams Legacy, which is the West Omaha Jams location at 170th and West Center Road, closed just about a week ago. Now, it's been announced that Legacy Chop House, which has been described as a modern rustic steakhouse concept, is slated to open October 1st. This is going to be a big restaurant, 10,000 square feet. And one of the cool things about it is it has ties to a very popular restaurant in Omaha, the Drover.
Absolutely. Daryl Lisey, a guy I've known for about, 25 years plus, been in some other businesses as well. And he has broken out, and he is going to have he wants to do an upscale steakhouse called Legacy Chop House. It's a very cool building. If you remember, this building was built for the Upstream Brewery, and it was just way too big. It was very expensive rent and everything else, and so it lasted a while, but it couldn't be maintained. And then Lanahaw Development bought it, put some offices in there on part of it, and then Jams came in, and then Alice, which is a really cool. What do you call those?
Cocktail bar,
like a
speakeasy.
It's like a speakeasy cocktail bar. That's staying in the lower level, and then Daryl Lisey will build out, and I think it'll be open. Probably have a soft opening at the end of September, then be open to the public like October 1st. And so we look forward to that. I think it's a great location for it. It's away from a lot of other. There's not a lot of upscale restaurants in that area.
A company called Chamis Pub and Grill. Chamis Pub and Grill is registered with the state of Nebraska to establish a restaurant at 414 South 10th Street. That's in the former Gate 10 location. Previously, before that, it was the Stadium Club. Basically, it's a bar spot in the Old Market just west of the Embassy Suites. Jamba has opened its first Nebraska location in the former Scarlet Highway space at Nebraska Crossing. Jamba shares the space with Auntie Anne's Pretzels. Now, Auntie Anne's had been in Nebraska Crossing, but they've moved into this different bay along with Jamba. Jamba sells fruit and vegetable smoothies. That's what they're famous for. They also have some food items as well. The chain is based in Atlanta, has 764 stores in 36 states. The closest existing locations are in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. There's one in Iowa City, Iowa, and another one in Wichita, Kansas. But people love this stuff.
I'm a big fan, and I know it as Jamba Juice. I'm sure it's the same company. And sometimes you'll see them in airports and things like that, and you can get peanut butter in them. I think you can get like oatmeal in some of them. I really like them. Yeah,
and Jamba and Jamba Juice are the same company. About a year ago, the firm changed its name.
They dropped the juice.
Yeah, they did. Construction is underway on a 2,600 square foot building for Panda Express at La Vista Southport. That's the area right by Cabela's and Embassy Suites. So it's yet the latest restaurant and entertainment business to go there. Recently, Starbucks, Charred Burger and Bar, Dirty Dough, and Smash Park have opened in that area. Panda Express under construction. Four Seasons, a golf simulator and sports lounge, is opening its first Omaha area location in a 4,500 square foot space near 192nd and Pacific Street. Basically, this is like a simulated golf thing. You go in there, you swing the clubs, you hit the ball, but because of video, it looks like you're on a famous PGA course. In fact, they have 285 PGA courses from which you can choose. Trenton, here's something cool. Wine Spectator Magazine's 2024 Restaurant Awards have recognized 5 Omaha restaurants for outstanding wine selection and wine programs. And the local restaurants are Spencer's for Steaks and Chops, V. Mertz, Dynamite Wood-Fired Grill, 801 Chop House, and Sullivan Steakhouse. Every single one of them downtown.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating. I don't know if they do that by the amount of wine that they sell and purchase and the quality of their wine. But those are kind of things that really help Omaha's culinary scene and Omaha in general.
And really fast before we go, construction has started on a Chick-fil-A at 156th and West Maple. We've had several people say, what's being built there? It's Chick-fil-A. All right, we're out of time. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, Cheer Athletics, and Perkins Kreitzer Construction. We'll chat with you next week right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.